Hello, I am T. Berry. How important is your health? The Western Diet Paradox. In a world of abundant food choices, we face a paradox. Despite access to more food and dietary information, our health is declining, bombarded with conflicting diet fads and misinformation. Michael Pollan, a renowned food journalist, steps in with his work in defense of food. Pollan urges us to focus on real whole foods. The Western diet, rich in processed foods, is linked to chronic diseases. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video. I appreciate you. Pollan's book serves as a guide for navigating the overwhelming and often contradictory landscape of modern nutrition. He encourages us to question the prevailing dietary dogma and empower ourselves to make informed food choices based on common sense and traditional wisdom. By shifting our focus from individual nutrients to whole food sources, Pollan suggests we can reclaim our health and well-being. Pollan advocates for a return to a more ancestral way of eating, reminiscent of the diets our grandparents would recognize. This means prioritizing whole, unprocessed foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein sources. The modern Western diet, for all its abundance and variety, presents a perplexing paradox. We live in an era where supermarkets overflow with food choices and dietary information is readily available at our fingertips. Yet rates of chronic diseases like obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease continue to climb. This paradox highlights a fundamental flaw in our approach to food. We have become fixated on individual nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, losing sight of the bigger picture, the importance of whole, unprocessed foods. Walking through the aisles of a modern supermarket can feel like navigating a labyrinth of dietary options. We are bombarded with a dizzying array of choices, low-fat, sugar-free, gluten-free. Yet, Pollan argues this abundance is often an illusion. Beneath the marketing claims lies a reality of processed ingredients and hidden sugars. The food industry thrives on confusion, capitalizing on our desire for quick fixes. Pollan encourages us to see through these marketing ploys and recognize that the healthiest choices are often the simplest. Instead of prepackaged meals, choose whole ingredients and prepare a simple meal at home. Pollan argues that our obsession with nutritional science, a concept he terms nutritionalism, has paradoxically led us further astray from healthy eating. Nutritionalism reduces food to its individual components, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and encourages us to make dietary decisions based on these isolated elements. While understanding nutrient content is important, Pollan contends that this reductionist approach overlooks the synergy and complexity of whole foods. The problem with nutritionalism is that it fosters a preoccupation with what Pollan calls good and bad nutrients. We become fixated on consuming more of certain nutrients and avoiding others, often based on the latest scientific studies or dietary trends. In contrast to the reductionist approach of nutritionalism, Pollan proposes a simpler, more holistic way of eating centered around real food. This means shifting our focus from isolated nutrients to whole, unprocessed foods that our ancestors would recognize. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and lean protein sources become the foundation of a healthy diet. This emphasis on real food encourages us to reconnect with our food sources and understand where our food comes from. Shopping at farmers markets, growing our own food, and preparing meals at home become acts of empowerment, allowing us to make conscious choices about what we nourish our bodies with. Choosing real food over processed alternatives doesn't have to be complicated. Pollen offers a simple rule of thumb: don't eat anything your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize as food. This means avoiding foods with lengthy ingredient lists, unpronounceable additives, and artificial flavors or colors. Beyond choosing real food, Pollen emphasizes the importance of eating with awareness. This means paying attention to our hunger and fullness cues, savoring each bite, and eating in a relaxed and mindful manner. In our fast-paced culture, meals often become something to squeeze in between appointments or consume mindlessly in front of a screen. This disconnect from the act of eating can lead to overeating, as we fail to register our body's signals of fullness. It can also diminish the enjoyment and satisfaction we derive from food. By slowing down, chewing our food thoroughly, and paying attention to the flavors and textures, we can enhance digestion, regulate our appetite, and rediscover the sensory pleasure of eating. Beyond prescriptions, a holistic perspective, Pollen invites us to consider the limitations of a purely allopathic approach to health. This perspective often falls short in addressing the root causes of chronic diseases. Pollen argues for a more holistic approach, recognizing the interconnectedness of our well-being. Holistic health emphasizes the body's innate ability to heal itself. This includes nourishing ourselves with whole foods, engaging in regular physical activity, managing stress, and cultivating healthy relationships. The body's innate wisdom. Pollen highlights the body's remarkable ability to regulate itself when given the right inputs. Our bodies evolved to thrive on whole, unprocessed foods. Traditional food cultures offer valuable dietary insights. By tuning in to our body's natural cues, we can support its innate wisdom. Food as medicine, a return to roots. Pollen reminds us of the ancient adage, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food," a principle espoused by Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine. By returning to the idea of food as medicine, we view our dietary choices as powerful tools for health. The industrialization of eating has fundamentally altered the way we consume food. Pollen argues that the modern food industry, driven by profit and efficiency, often to the detriment of our health, has created a food system that prioritizes quantity over quality, convenience over nutrition, and shelf life over flavor. This shift has led to a disconnect between consumers and the source of their food, making it challenging to discern what's truly healthy and what's been engineered for profit. One of the key consequences of this industrialization is the proliferation of processed foods designed to be highly palatable, addictive, and shelf-stable. These foods, often laden with sugar, unhealthy fat, sodium, and artificial ingredients, hijack our taste buds and undermine our body's natural hunger and fullness cues. Faced with the overwhelming influence of the industrial food system, it's easy to feel powerless. However, Pollen reminds us that we, as consumers, have immense power to shape the food landscape through our choices. Every time we shop for groceries, dine out, or prepare a meal at home, we cast a vote for the kind of food system we want to support. Pollen urges us to become conscious consumers, educating ourselves about where our food comes from, how it's grown, and what it contains. This means reading labels carefully, questioning marketing claims, and supporting companies that prioritize ethical and sustainable practices. Choosing to buy from local farmers, growing our own food, and preparing meals at home are all powerful acts of resistance against the industrial food system. In defense of food, Michael Pollan distills his wisdom into a set of clear and actionable guidelines for navigating the modern food landscape. These guidelines, rooted in common sense and a deep understanding of traditional dietary patterns, offer a refreshing departure from the often confusing world of fad diets and nutritional dogma. Pollan's advice is simple yet profound, encouraging us to reconnect with the pleasure of eating real food and prioritize quality over quantity. One of his most memorable guidelines is his mantra, "Eat food." Navigating the modern supermarket can feel like an overwhelming experience. Aisles overflow with processed foods disguised as healthy choices, each vying for our attention with bold health claims and colorful packaging. Pollan offers practical strategies for making informed choices amidst this abundance of options. One of his key pieces of advice is to shop the perimeter of the supermarket. Michael Pollan's In Defense of Food is more than just a dietary guide. It's a call to action, urging us to reclaim our health and well-being by returning to the simple yet profound wisdom of eating real food, by shifting our focus from isolated nutrients to whole, unprocessed ingredients. We can nourish our bodies in a way that supports both individual and planetary health. Pollan's message resonates deeply because it speaks to our innate desire for a simpler, more connected relationship with food. One that nourishes our bodies, honors our cultural heritage, and sustains the environment. Embracing Pollan's recommendations offers a pathway out of the modern dietary maze, characterized by conflicting advice, fad diets, and a reliance on processed foods. As we've explored throughout this essay, the benefits of adopting Pollan's dietary recommendations extend far beyond individual health. By choosing to eat real food, we support sustainable agriculture, reduce our environmental impact, and foster a more just and equitable food system for all. When we prioritize quality over quantity, we cast a vote for a future where food is valued not just for its convenience or profitability, but for its ability to nourish, heal, and connect us to the earth and each other. The journey toward a healthier relationship with food begins with small, conscious choices. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video. I appreciate you.